Welcome to the Avery Tribe podcast. I'm Melanie.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Chris Avery. Welcome back. We hit you with the first one. It's a 1-2 punch. Welcome back.
So we are excited for this podcast episode because we're going to be talking about Run America. Really, Chris running America. It's his world now.
Chris runs America. You're welcome. You guys think you're voting? It's really just me doing it behind the scenes.
That's right. We're doomed. So in our first episode, we mentioned what our project is that's coming up in 2027. And this episode will be going over the details of what Chris runs America. Run America. The official title pending in my mind.
Chris runs America.
Chris runs America. We're going to talk about
the official title. But tell Melanie, what is this Chris runs America thing I've heard so much about?
Well, Chris, let's take a look at our notes. So we're going to start from the very beginning.
We are going to start from the beginning because you couldn't start anywhere else. You always just have ready clear. No matter what you're doing in life, you have to start from the beginning. So we're going to start there. In
case you didn't listen to the first episode, I'll keep us on track. In case you didn't listen to the first episode, where it all began was I was influenced by a friend to run a marathon before we were married in 2017. And I ran it, and Chris joined me for like one of, on when you look at Google and you go running schedule to train for a marathon. And I was running 5 miles a certain night after work. He came with me and had a rough go about it because Chris never runs. Chris hates running.
One and done.
And then I ran a marathon. It was all fun. Woohoo. And then a couple years later, my friends were like, hey, you've already run a marathon. Why don't you run a marathon with us? Let's do it together. And I was like, yeah, sure. It's not like my identity to run marathons, but I will because you guys invited me. Those people. And so I think it was really close to when that marathon was going to happen. And they decided to tell me, hey, we actually haven't been training. Like, we can't run this. And I was already training. And I go, man, well, that really sucks. And I thought, I don't want to run it by myself. I'm not really interested in that. And then Chris stepped in because he's a good teammate. And he said, hey, I'll run this with you. I think it's crazy. I'll run it with you, but I'm not going to train. And I was like, what? And that's Chris Avery. And so do you want to share anything about that?
Oh, I mean, sure. I think it's just, I think we figured out last time we talked about just being a good teammate. And I think that was so, my identity at that point was, at that moment was be a good teammate. And so we just hopped in. And I also wanted to see, how hard this marathon thing is that people train so much for or say they can't do it because they didn't train or whatever reason. And I just want to see how mentally strong I was because, I mean, how do you know without a test? So that was really the big things.
True. And so this was the Mount Nebo episode, Mount Nebo marathon in Utah. And we started it together. I wasn't really trained for as up and down as the first 10 miles were. Really, the first 20 miles. I feel like it was wild. It
was all up and down until I felt like the last about, 10 miles probably.
So it was wild. I hated the experience. Chris got so much out of it because he's really the person. This is where I really found out I am better in competition, in like a light competition way. I did the St. George, Utah marathon, and that was nice because there was people around me the entire time. I could, drift behind someone, and I could go like, oh, they're walking, I'm going to run past them. So in my mind, that really helps me. And then when we did the Mount Nebo marathon together, Chris really found out that he's like, I don't know if you found this out. You probably knew it before, but it's really, he loves him versus himself. I hated it because I was alone the whole time and I was like, this sucks. I'll never run again.
One of the best things I think I got from it though is I ran the whole marathon with no headphones. I didn't listen to a single thing. It was just me and like some of the forest had burnt down. So there was some forest like destruction, but then there was also beauty and the sunrise was coming up and it was magical because you're up in the mountains. But one of the keys I feel like for me that helped me so much was I didn't listen to anything where most people, would say, listen to stuff.
Scary place to be with your own thoughts unless you like yourself. Good thing you do.
Or unless you crazy.
So that was really eye-opening and very, very neat. And it was fun to do it together. I feel like in between those two, I gotta say, we did Spartan races for our honeymoon. We had a 3-parter. We did what's called a Spartan trifecta, where you do a smaller length to a larger length to a larger length of the race. It's like an obstacle running race around the mountains usually. But that was really fun in our first year of marriage to train for those together and to do those. And then the next year do a marathon together. That was really fun.
It was.
Yeah. I would suggest that to any couple. I feel like every time I go to a wedding and when they have an advice card, they say, what are your advice and wishes? And I go, train for something together in the next year. You'll really have a lot of time together.
So I'm going to keep us on track. This has nothing to do with Chris Runs America. So that'll come up on a different podcast episode. Because she's going to keep us on track. Also, I love it. Since we're not on track, I just want to say this. One reason I want to do this podcast is because I just love like talking and bantering with you, and I just have such a good, fun, like giggly time when we joke back and forth. And I wanted to share that with everybody and just share our experience because we're going to do so many things in life. And after the run, then we'll RV for a long time, and so we want to build a community and a tribe, and we'll get to that in a second. But we want people to go with us along with us on this journey and make a lot of friends and incredible relationships and legendary experiences that we all remember and tell our grandkids together.
I'm just doing it so I can find friends like me. Now moving on. We'll build a tribe and we'll all grow together.
She just wants more of her, is what she was.
I feel like I've come to a place, and if you've grown at all, you've seen this too. But as you grow,
and if you haven't grown, you haven't seen it.
Yeah, but you will see. As you grow, you tend to kind of drop some friends and people along the way that used to fit your old self. And if that's not who you want to be, then they don't always fit in your new life. So I feel like I've dropped more than I've gained, but I have gained really good ones. So I'm excited to gain more.
And we'll talk more about that on another episode on why that actually happens. Because I love that topic. It's so important for us to understand.
Yeah. Okay, so marathon number 2 for me, number 1 for Chris is done. He goes, what's next? You know, after you do something big, usually other people or you decide to say what's next. He goes, I'm going to run 50 miles. I'm going to double a marathon pretty much, run 50 miles.
And we didn't know much about ultra marathons at that point. Like, we really didn't. And so we looked it up, and 50 miles is one of the ones that seemed daunting. And so
on October 10th, 2020, 10/10/2020, we did it. It was exciting. It was a big feat. There's a trail that we live near that goes, it's a paved trail the whole way, and it goes through the canyon. It goes into the neighborhoods along the mountain, but it's paved the whole way and kind of, in and out of the neighborhoods. And so Chris would run it. I would be in charge of putting things on Instagram, saying his location, updates. I had the ice chest full of pickle juice and who knows what in the car, had his yoga mat, like Theragun or something. We didn't have a Theragun at that point. Anyway, I did all the background stuff while Chris ran.
Yeah, we got it done.
Yeah.
Finished 50 miles. Had people come out. It was really nice that we had people come out, and you go like, man, we need more tribe and community. That's a profound piece to just having things that are meaningful in life, having those relationships.
What I like too is people came in the way that they could. So one of our friends came and he rode his bike along with Chris.
Truth.
Someone else came and added some more chalk to the pathway where she knew, like, hey, I've been following along. I knew kind of where he was. She came over and she supported and cheered, and she was at the end holding sparklers. Someone else ran with you. Was it 2 people ran, or is it just Jason? I think it was just one.
Yeah, I think it was just Jason.
So in their capacity that they could, that was just really, it was beautiful to see. And
then we had tons of support on social media. But I mean, the point is, it was just amazing to experience that.
Yeah. So we want more. We have a craving for that.
And we really do. Like, the end result is the part where you go, when we finish day 365, which we'll get to, and we're done, something profound will happen within us. And it happens along the journey, but there's just that, that's the catalyst that you remember.
Hi. Oh, yeah. Hiya.
Hiya. Hiyo. So, do you want to go with what we know?
So,
which my list will be shorter because I don't know much, but Mel knows a ton, so she's going to share it with you. Go.
Well, after that, let me give a little preface. After that, Chris had an idea. Now it's 2022 at this point, and he goes, I haven't run for a while. I'm going to run 1 mile a day. And so on January 9th, 2022.
Well, hold on. So the 50 was 2020.
Yeah.
Then we got to 2022. So there was a lot that happened of not consistently running, wanting to run, running a little bit, then not running, then not running for months. And then in the beginning of January 2022, I was like, I really enjoyed who I became through the 50 and who I became through the marathon. And I wanted to recapture that. And so how do I recapture that? And then that's when we set out the thing of, hey, if I can run one day a mile and do that for 7 days, that'll be something I've never done. And then that transformed while I was doing that into, man, let's see if I can do it for 90 days. And then we'll go up a mile every 90 days. And
he really loves the 90-day thing because of a book, I believe, the 90-day year.
Yeah, it's called The Book of Life, Chris Avery. Publishing pending, coming to a bookstore near you and Amazon. Got to do it on Amazon. No, I think there's people that suggest that. So there is a book called The 12-Week Year, which is about putting things into a 90-day cycle. I like the 90-day cycle, and I did it before I even read the book with some of my previous coaching courses and stuff, is because I when you hit 90 days, there's something that goes from day 1 to day 90. You almost can't remember day 1 clearly. Like you can't remember who you used to be. So if you do something for 90 days, you now just see yourself as that person the whole time. You can't look back. And it's hard to look back and like really distinguish that you weren't that person. So after 90 days, you've transformed yourself to being that person. That's the reason I really like the 90 days. That's the reason we had the 90-day calendars and things like that.
So that's why he had this idea of every 90 days, I'm going to go up one interval. So for 90 days, I'll run 1 mile a day. The next 90 days, 2 miles a day. Next 90 days, 3, and so on. And right now he's running 11 miles a day. Every single day. I will repeat, every single day. When I had a baby, he ran. When he gets sick, he runs. When it's snowing outside, he runs. Every single day.
Except for every single day. That's the only day I don't run. Christmas, I run. New Year's, I run. New Year's Eve, I run.
Birthday.
Thanksgiving, birthdays, anniversaries,
Arbor Day,
going on cruises, on days when you can't get off the boat on a cruise. So if that wasn't clear, every day.
There's just been some people close to us that are like, so you're sick, are you going to take some time off? We're like, that's not what we're doing.
Right.
It is every single day, and it is every 90 days going up 1 more mile. And that will be from the beginning all the way until the end of the last day of 2026. The first day of 2027, we are going around the perimeter of America, starting in Phoenix, going clockwise along the perimeter all the way through for 365 days. It's 10,000 miles or so.
Yeah, it's over 10,000 miles.
And that will be 50K a day, which is 31.1 miles every single
Correct.
day.
Yeah, 50K a day. 50K a day, 50K times 365.
So that's the project. That's Chris Runs America. All of our decisions between the beginning of this till when that is beginning revolve around that. Like, hey, do we buy a car? Okay, well, how far will this car take us? And then what kind of RV do we want? Because the family's going to follow. We know that for sure. And so all these little things that we'll kind of get into in a second have blossomed into what the project will actually look like.
I do want to say one reason we chose to do 50K a day and not like 50 miles a day, because we discussed that.
Chris discussed that. He brought it up and I was like, don't do it.
I'm still questioning it. But anyways, one thing that we thought was really profound is determining the lifestyle you want to live before you go into doing something like this. Because I'm going to suggest that to anybody, and we're going to get there, but there's sacrifices and there's many incredible things we'll talk about, but there's also many challenging things that come from it. And so really we wanted to have the family go with us, and we wanted to take the kids, take the RV. I didn't want to have my family stay at home for a year, so they're going to travel with us 30 miles 50K a day, every day. They'll be there by my side, traveling with me, not running with me, but being there supporting me. They'll be in the RV. She'll be helping with logistics and taking care of kids. And so really, I mean, I don't know, that was just such a key part, is us understanding how we wanted our lifestyle to look as we were out there too. Beyond that, like, do we want time with the family? Do we want to be able to go out and go hiking? Do we want to be able to go to a theme park? I think that's such an important part for anybody that's going to start a big endeavor, to understand the lifestyle that they want to live that big endeavor within.
Yeah, because I think if someone's doing a big mission project challenge like this, sometimes it's just, hey, I'm going to go off and do this. I'm going to come back, and then we'll be reunited. And it just felt better that we would...
Reunited, and it feels so good. Oh, no.
Anyway, it felt really good, and it feels best with us that we figure it out the way that we want it to go. And as far as we know, no one has ever done it to this capacity. No one's ever run for 5 years straight doing this. No one's ever brought their family along. No one's ever gone along this path. So we'll hopefully more people figure out how to do it, and they can follow our footsteps, and it'd be really awesome to see whatever impact that comes from this.
Yeah, what I'll tell you is, for anybody who's listening, we got one life to live that we know of. Create a legendary story. That's one of the most profound things in my life, was I decided to become a person that would rather go do something than look back in 20 years and say, what if? And then how do you create a legendary story that can impact so many other people? Because that's what we want to do, right? At the end of the day, we want to impact ourselves and our family, but we want to impact so many other people to go out and live the thing that's inside you that's calling you.
Yes. Amen. So, real quick, what we know, $50K a day. We want a toy hauler, because I think that'll be good spacing for our family, and it has 2 bathrooms for other people and then our family. That's my one request.
And then we can say, if anybody knows this from Christmas Vacation, shitter's full.
That's right. That'll be my job. We also know we've mapped it out. So in our living room, we have one long wall, and we got the giant calendars, like 30 by 40 inch, whatever calendars from today, the beginning of this year, all the way to the end of 2027. So we literally, every time we walk in our house, we see how much time we have and what's going to go down. We have another map of the USA, and we went through with an expo marker to mark the exact route and just about how many miles that'll be.
The 32 states will be in.
Yeah, we'll go through 32 states as of right now, unless anything changes. But we're going, all the way down to the tip of Florida and up, and all the way down to Texas and up, and at the most perimeter points we can. So it'll be wild. So we know those for sure. There's a lot we still don't know. And someone just asked me the other day that we have somewhat partnered with, and she gave us a lot of really good insight to this, because she did a challenge type similar. Kelsey Lensman, shout out.
Yeah.
Mission 48, look it up. It's incredible. But she the other day said, hey, so how's it going with you guys? How's your big project? And I was like, because we have so much time, we really can take our time with our to-do list. But we really have to put our heads on and start chipping away now, because there's so many things to figure out for such a big project. So we know a lot of things that we want. We're not there yet, but things that we do want is what? When you can list these out. You want me to? Yeah,
I mean, I think that one of the key things is you have to have a tribe, or you have to have a team, right? I mean, the team. I'm reading a book on a really great NFL coach, and he's passed now, but the key is so much it's about the team. The victory, when we cross the finish line at 365, that's not my victory. That's the team's victory. Like the 50 is Mel's victory, because I wouldn't be able to do it. We cried together from the joy we felt from it, not because it was my victory, but it was ours. It's not a you thing. It's not a me thing. It's a we thing. So I want to make sure that we put the call out there, man. We don't have every piece filled in, and that's okay. But we're looking for those people that are looking. We're looking for those people that are hungry and go like, man, that thing sounds badass, and I want to be part of it. Sponsorship, of course, from Kelsey, we've learned that there's a good thing to have, like you want to have those local legends, the people that are just, hey, I know Chris, or I've seen what he's doing that's inspiring me. I want to buy his shoes, or I want to buy him a new Garmin watch, or I want to put some gas in their SUV, whatever it is. So you have to have that, and then you have to have the bigger sponsors. So we're working on that, and then really just build out the community and the tribe of people that we're simply building a place where we're connected, we have love, and we feel inspired enough to know we can go out and do those legendary things together.
What I would love to see is it's so easy to follow along where we are and you leave at the same time every day that we don't get bombarded with, we as in, I probably see these, I don't get bombarded with messages of, I want to join Chris. Where are you guys today? I want it to be so easy for people to know exactly where he is, roll up with their friends and run with him. They can run 1 mile, they can run 50. Oh, they won't run 50, but they can run 30 miles with him.
They can run 50. I won't be, but they can.
I would love to see how many people just want to join him just to be a part of something grand. I think that'll be really fun to see. And then, meet the family. We can all party at the end of the night while Chris sleeps and recovers.
So I'm going to be the first person to ever get the Apple AirTag thing or whatever it is embedded in my skin. I just want to make that public announcement. No, I won't ever do that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the community will be the coolest part. Other than seeing you and being there with you and experiencing it all, I think the community that we'll build will be one of the coolest parts for me to see. And our kids to see too. Like how incredible that'll be.
It's truly what life's about.
Yeah. So there's a little bit about what we know. And there's more that we probably want that we're not remembering. But we have it somewhere. And it's obviously we have years before we start. So it's going to evolve. And we'll share that along the way as we go.
Most definitely.
So how is it going right now? What day to day, what are some thoughts about the runs?
So this year has been, or the last 200 and some odd days has been quite difficult.
Wait, can you share what day consecutively you're on today?
Oh yeah, so today's day 984.
Ooh,
so we're halfway through day 984. The first couple years was relatively not easy. I don't want to say it was easy because it's every day and you're getting used to it and your body's aching in different ways and you got pain in this way and you're like, I have never run this much. Should I be not running? And then you go tell somebody and they tell you to quit running and you're like, okay, then you figure out, don't tell that person. No, it's joking. But, in all seriousness, some truth, like don't be careful who you talk to about these things. That's the reason it's important to have a good community. But this last year has been challenging. I think for like the last 250 days, I feel like I've had those shin splints where it feels like somebody hit me in the hammer with into my shin. Yep. It hurts. But I think we've ebbed and flowed on the healing of it. And then I run again and it comes back. So I think we're just figuring out how to overcome. And all these things are so important because they help us learn how to do that when we go do the 50K a day for 365. Like it really... It shows my ability. It shows my body's ability. It builds the muscles in that way. So all this stuff is beneficial, but there's sacrifice. Like when you leave your little girl, it's a bittersweet thing where she goes like running, and it's sweet because she's seen you do something amazing, but it's also sad because she it's cute that she knows so much.
You miss out on 2 to 3 hours of her day.
Yeah.
And she's only up for 12, 13 hours.
And, you can, I run sometimes when they're sleeping, but it's still, you miss other things. So there's always going to be a counterbalance to that. And that's the reason we make sure we spend so much good time together as a family, which is so important. But yeah, so.
For example, yesterday it was raining in the morning and we said, let's move our day around. Let's all hang out in the morning with the windows open.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Like a lot of people
went and got breakfast and came back and relaxed and heard the rain and enjoyed each other.
Yeah.
And there's so much joy and beauty when you're out there. And there's something like the running has given me so much. So I would never want to step back from running. Running has given me so much to understand myself, build a better business, build a better marriage. Like I truly believe one of the things that impacted our marriage the most was running, the business, and then it just helps me be a better father and husband. So I think those are just some of the joys and being outside, you get to connect spiritually with God. And I just think there's...
How often are adults in America, at least, outside for 3 hours a day, unless they're a park ranger?
For real. For real.
That's a really special thing that you get to, sometimes with or without headphones, listening to something. Like, that's education time. That's connecting time. That's, pondering time.
And that's how I got better in the marriage and stuff, was just education, learning new things, clearing my head, running through thoughts, running through negative or positive thoughts. And it, like you said, it just being outside is just such a spiritual connection. And I feel so much closer to God, and just myself because of it. So those are some of the joys.
Well, thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you would want to say to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think just anything you're going to do is big is going to have all the things in life, because that's the beauty of life, is all these things. Just how do we learn how to, use it and gain value from it and grow through it. And we're so grateful that you guys have listened to the first 2 podcasts, and we hope you share with somebody and you got a little piece that you can take home today to implement and have the life you want.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.